Peace, peace, Omar. Peace, Gypsy Goddess. Thanks, Brother Omar. Trina. Peace, Dan. Duma, Brother Duma. Just waiting for a couple more people to pop in. Peace. Andre Pope. Mario Pope. Master Craftsman. All right, seems like people are jumping in left and right now. So let's get it popping. Love me, Fro. Peace, peace. All right, so let's get it on. Smooth to God. Peace. Of course, you ain't coming out the shower. That's you live in the shower. Chantel, peace, peace. All right, we got a good amount of people in here. Ed Brown, peace. Let's get it popping. Let's start it right away. Because my Giants start later on, and I'm not missing the game. So I'm going to start rolling right now. All right, so we are going to be discussing Vampyre Gate, Vampyre Magick, and the Black Adept. To begin with, an individual who is walking the vampiric magic with Vampyre Magick, vampire sorcery path, there's three ideas that we stand for and live by as a vampire magician. First ideology is you are the only God that is. You are the only God that is. Second, all deific masks, archetypes, powers, or spirits must manifest through you. Therefore, to remain in your consciousness, you must be the strongest to keep your foundation and identity. Go back to number one. You are the only God. So keep that in mind as I just went over part number two, which I will repeat number two again. All deific masks, archetypes, powers, or spirits must manifest through you. Therefore, to remain in your consciousness, you must be the strongest to keep your foundation and identity. You are the only God that is. Number three, there's three ideas that we live by, and this is number three. As a vampire, your primary focus is the retention of knowledge, that through experience, it becomes wisdom. With that assumption of power first internally and then externally as you see fit. The vampire magician takes control over their total life. From A through Z, every aspect or part of their life. First three principles that are very important to understand. You are the only God. Why is that important? Because when you start working with spirits, you start working with archetypes, deities, whatever you want to call them, people have a tendency to lose their way. Meaning, we lose our way in that we go back to this programming that seems to be in the human race for thousands of years now, of groveling, begging, worshiping something externally. For example, a god, a goddess, deity, whatever name you use. That is one of the biggest crutches we have as people. And from my experience, some of you all may agree with this or may not. our melanated people sometimes tend to be the spookiest people. What I mean by that is we tend to be super religious, and many of our people have no reasoning skills or concept of what the hell they're really worshiping. There's so much superstition that our people has, it's ridiculous. And this crutch on constantly leaning on God, Jesus, Yahweh, Allah, I don't care what way you go, it seems like our melanated people always have to have some kind of God to worship. That is a crutch that limits your potential, your power to reach your full capacity. Unfortunately, this is one of the things that keeps people stuck when they come onto the left-hand path or the path of self-mastery. It keeps them stuck back in the old programming, back in the old conditioning, not wanting to let go. And so thus you never reach your potential. You limit yourself in every which way as long as you continuously give your power to some external source. Many a times this external source cannot be proven. It's not seen. It's just some belief, faith kind of concept that binds you and holds you back. That's important, especially as a vampire magician, because a vampire magician strives to utilize the deific mask, whether you call them archetypes, gods, goddesses, powers, spirits, whatever. Why do we utilize the deific mask? Instead of looking at Kali Ma as an external deity of destruction, chaos, time, and transformation, and worshiping her and saying, oh, Kali Ma spoke to me. Kali Ma tickled my left nipple last night. Kali Ma did this and that. As a vampire magician, you start to realize you are Kali Ma, meaning you embody the vibrations, the frequencies, the consciousness, and the attributes that are attributed to Kali. When you put that deific mask on, you realize that you embody that. And you walk your life accordingly, in control of your life, dictating your life in every facet of your path or walk. No longer looking at some external source and giving thanks to God for all the praise and mercy, inshallah, and all this other crap. Or blaming the devil for our failures and stupidity. No. Vampire magician puts on the mask and understands better than most the total embodiment, characteristics, power of Kali Ma. That's just one example. You could name any deific mask. And that's the major difference between someone who's really on the path of self-mastery, really trying to embody these principles instead of worshiping the principles, and the right-hand path and religious individuals who want to worship, grovel, and give their power away freely. And then your primary focus is the knowledge, gaining knowledge. And as you apply this knowledge, through that experience of applying this knowledge, you gain wisdom. People will say, and I've heard this for years and I always combat this, knowledge is power. No, I will combat that to the day I die. Let me tell you why. Knowledge is information. It's not power, because most people do not apply the knowledge into their life and walk it, experience it, for it to truly transcend and become wisdom. So to me, knowledge is just information. If you don't properly apply that knowledge to your life, it's just information, and sometimes it can become useless information. So your primary focus is to retain and expand that knowledge that you have but applying it so you can gain the experience of it, the understanding of it, which then leads to wisdom. Now, all symbolism of vampirism is reflective of the spirit and astral plane. The Vampyre gate, in essence, is the gateway to the astral plane. Now, this is important to understand because some of you all may have a fascination with the astral plane. Others are interested in learning about the astral plane. Others are interested in actually projecting themselves into the astral plane. All of that is wonderful. But a vampire actually execute on a consistent basis, projecting themselves into the astral plane for the express purpose of knowledge, gaining wisdom, and to feed off of the life force energy, whether you call it prana, chi, whatever you want to call it, to make you feel superior at the end of the day, it's all good. We feed off of this energy because there is more than more abundant energy of this than is actually imaginable. And through feeding off of this life force energy, through the prana has subtle energy, very, very subtle energy that has consciousness within it. And when you feed off of this, you can expand your consciousness, tapping into the Akashic records, tapping into that etheric plane where the Akashic records are kept of your personal life and your tribal family or DNA ancestry. All right. The astral plane, when entered, will provide an exciting and challenging initiatory experience. You must be willing to trust your instincts and, above all, know yourself. How many of all truly know ourselves? Not the fake self, as we discussed in yesterday's video, but the true self. Not the fake self we created to survive in this society, but the true self. Well, when you travel to the astral plane, you start to really learn who the true self is. You start to get an idea of who the true self is. You start to get the knowledge of who the true self is. That's opening the gateway to the higher self, as some would call it. Some would call it the holy guardian angel. Whatever you want to call it, you start to gain that experience. Astral beings may experience the past like recordings in specific areas, pass through walls and enter dark places just as the spirit does. This, of course, depends on the initiatory level of the vampire magician. Much of this type of practice will indeed take time and focus to achieve. That last part is very important. Much of this type of practice will indeed take time and focus to achieve. Do not get upset, do not stress out, or get too frustrated if you cannot achieve reaching the astral plane on your first try, second try, third try, or if you've done it and you have difficulty getting back. Do not get frustrated or too stressed out or upset about it. It takes practice, consistent practice. We will get into actually how to do some astral projection in a little bit, but it takes consistent practice. So do not get frustrated. Trust me, people, do not get frustrated if you've gone there and then you have difficulty getting back. If you have difficulty getting back, that means you're trying too hard instead of just flowing, letting it flow, and just flowing naturally into it. Projecting your consciousness out of your body can be a frightening experience at first. That's another thing. For individuals who actually astral projected and you go into the astral realm, it can be frightening because you're going to see a lot of ish that you normally do not see in this physical plane. And it may scare you, startle you, shock you severely. Some maybe not so, but it will cause some kind of reaction in you because it's things you're gonna see that you're not familiar with. Okay? Or you think you're familiar with it, and then when you actually encounter it, it's a whole nother thing. Learn to control your breathing. I believe not last week we discussed breathing, and yesterday too, The Science of Breath by Yogi Ramachakara is a good book to get and study for how to breathe properly. The Science of Breath is very important when you astral project. Okay, one of the things, and I discussed this before, is when you breathe in your nose deeply from the diaphragm, meaning down here, the diaphragm. A lot of people breathe shallowly and they breathe from their chest and their shoulders, and that's very unhealthy. You should breathe from your diaphragm to cause the full circulation of the breath to be filtered out and then come back out. So if you find yourself, or you think about it, if you see that you breathe shallowly, you might want to practice breathing deeply. Down to your diaphragm, fill up the diaphragm, hold it for 1 or 2, 3 seconds, and then breathe it out of your mouth. Breathe in through your nostrils and then fill up the diaphragm and out of your mouth. Okay? Practice this every day. If you really want to astral project, it's very important that you practice proper breathing. Why is it important? Proper breathing allows you to slow down your heart rate, which is essential for astral projection, is slowing down your heart rate. Okay? Also, if you want to fade into a state of altered consciousness to astrally project, you don't want to count from 1 to 10. Try counting from 9 to 1. Try it. You could do 1 to 10. People do it too, but try 10 to 1 or 9 to 1. See how it works for you. Okay? Try something different. If you've done it one way all your life, try it differently. I do 9 to 1 because it allows me to tap into my subconscious and go deeper into the abyssic mind than counting the traditional way, 1 to 10. This will provide you with a powerful method of practice and, more than anything, help you achieve results. As you enter the astral plane, your mode of focus is, of course, consuming energy in this state. As your consciousness moves out of your physical shell, you will no doubt be exposed to the astral plane as it is. There is no set or defined elements within the astral plane. There are, however, predators on the astral plane that prey on the weak-minded, the individuals who are frightful, and things of that nature. When they get to the astral plane, they just sitting there waiting to scare the living crap out of you. Some of y'all have encountered this. You done seen some ish, and it just totally shook you. And you was like, whoa, what the heck was that? Okay? In this initiatory process, you will align your mind as a vampire magician or sorcerer, thus creating the part for you to become a predator yourself. Your physical body is surrounded and connected by an astral body. This is slightly larger than the physical and can be seen in ritual settings. Some types of photography, like Kirlian photography. I don't know if any of y'all have ever had your aura photographed using Kirlian photography and things of that nature. If you haven't, it's good to do, so that way you have a visual concept or image of what it looks like, okay? The astral body is affected by the food, mental state, and physical health, and more. like we discussed yesterday, you should have a healthy diet. That doesn't mean you have to be extreme. Like some people want to be vegans or raw foodists or things like that diet is not for everybody. You have to know your own personal DNA, your own chemistry, your body chemistry. And I would suggest everybody, if you're able to, get a DNA study on get blood work done so you can find out through your DNA what foods are best for you, what foods create allergies in you, what foods create allergic reactions, things of that nature. It is essential. You should want to strive to perfect your body so that when you travel to the astral plane, you are of a more profound body, okay? An astral body. So the foods are very essential. What you eat is essential. You should eat foods like, okay, organic foods. Now, the problem with some organic foods is you really don't know if it's organic because you're getting it from a usually a second-party source. It comes from a farm or some other location, and it comes to Whole Foods or Sprouts or Lucky's or whatever. By the time it gets to these supermarkets, it's been sitting there on the shelf for a little while. So there is some level of preservatives they're going to pump into that, regardless of what they tell you. What happens is the FDA gives a percentage. If it has less than this amount of percentage of, let's say, preservatives, it's considered organic. Okay, sounds nice, but the problem is there's still preservatives in there. And some of that can be harmful to you. So you really have to take a study on your diet, see what's best for you. I was a vegan for 10 years. It did not work for me. When I went to my naturopathic doctor, she took blood work, and she took blood work not only just for my blood and anything else, but also that was based upon my foods and allergies and things like that. And what she found out is that I was very unhealthy as a vegan. And she asked me, she said, do you have any protein source besides vegetables and things of that nature? I said, no. She said, well, according to your DNA, because she was from the Caribbean too, by the way. She said, according to your DNA, your family's from Puerto Rico and things like that, you should be eating a certain amount of protein. And you're not going to get it from certain vegetables or a lot of these vegetables. You should be eating more like your ancestors did, which is what we discussed yesterday. My Taino and African ancestors, things of that nature. So you have to be mindful of a lot of these things. Your mental state, very important. This is why myself and Brother Beniti and on the Awakening Universal Mind show on TalkShoe.com for years have been saying that before you get into any deep level of magic, especially working black magic, vampiric magic, or certain things of that nature, you got to make sure your psychological state is correct. And it's more serious than you think. You really have to make sure your psychological state is correct, because certain practices can actually trap your mind in the astral realm, and then you are disconnected from your physical body, and these people tend to veg out. Okay, and then you end up in an asylum, or you end up in a mental health hospital, whatever the case may be, when you're really still, your consciousness is still really healthy, but what happened is your mental state, the psychological problems that some of these predators feed off of you can trap you in that realm. Hollywood did a pretty good job, not totally 100% correct, but if you watch the Insidious movies, it kind of shows you what can happen when people they actually get stuck in these places, okay? You have to understand this mental state is very important, which is why we constantly harp on dealing with your trauma, dealing with your issues, dealing with your pain, dealing with your abuse if you were abused, dealing with your sexual abuse if you were sexually abused, dealing with your daddy and mommy issues, dealing with all of these things. May seem like that's not really relevant a lot of times. You hear us say this over and over, and some of y'all may think it's not relevant. It's more relevant than you think, because those issues can actually trap you in some of this work that is being done. It can actually trap you when you get into deeper aspects of this work. So your psychic health is very important as well. Okay, you should be practicing meditation. We already said proper breathing. Okay, you should, if you're not familiar, some of y'all can do Reiki. Get Reiki done. You should be, listen, any avenue you can to elevate your psychic, mental, and physical body, work on it. You can utilize Reiki. You can utilize Tai Chi. You can utilize yoga. All those things are essential. Vampyre Magician should be practicing proper breathing, some form of yoga, some form of martial arts, some form of psychic practice. Meaning, if you know you have a gift to, let's say, communicate telepathically, or you have a gift of clairvoyancy, or whatever, you should be putting practice into that on a daily basis. It's very important to do that. Now, here's what else is important. There's a caution here. If you are impaired physically, you need not be in the astral plane. This is the process of developing the will. Those who utilize the ritual practice of shape-shifting understand your limitations are set by you. Do you have a limiting mindset? Somewhere along the line, at one time or another in our life, we set limits upon what we could do, not do, things of that nature. We have a limiting mindset. Find out what you self-created as limitations and challenge it. Now, I'm not telling you to challenge things that are, realistically limits. Like, you're not LeBron James, so don't expect to get on the court and put up 50 points. That's just a limitation that you just ain't got the skills. That's realistically thinking you ain't got them skills. Okay? So be real when it comes to that. What I'm saying is these limitations that are falsely placed upon ourselves by ourselves that really we've never challenged, and you may be able to bypass that. Okay? So consider this. I'll give you an example. I can't remember the dude's name precisely. I know his last name is Brown. Is it Michael Brown? David Brown? I can't remember precisely. Well, anyways, he was a janitor, and he's a Nubian brother. And when he was growing up, all he heard his whole life is, you're never gonna amount to anything. You're never gonna go to anywhere. Your people are just limited to this and limited to that. And he accepted a lot of that bull crap. So he ended up working as a janitor because at that time, a lot of people, that was considered a good job, was to work as a janitor. Well, one day, the state government decided to test people's IQ across the state. And when he took his IQ test and they found out this dude had one of the highest IQ scores ever, they were totally shocked. What is this dude doing working as a janitor when his mind is that of like a NASA scientist or some crap? So you see, we sometimes accept limitations people give us, and then we create our own limitations. If I remember the name correctly, I'll say it, but I know it's last name Brown or something like that. Okay? Anyways, this dude, when he found out he had one of the highest IQs, he became a millionaire. What he did was he started lecturing, he started writing books and things of that nature, and became a millionaire off of this. So that just shows you that we limit ourselves, and if we really start to challenge those limitations, you have no idea the heights you can reach. So always keep that in mind. So, those who utilize the ritual practice of shape-shifting understand your limitations are set by you. This goes back to you are the only God that is. And that before you can experience something more spiritual, you have to realize that you control the extent and power of your destiny. Yeah, that's some powerful stuff. Let me repeat that one more time there. This goes back to you are the only God that is. And that before you can experience something more spiritual, you have to realize that you control the extent and power of your destiny. Okay? So realize that a lot of these limitations are self-created. They're not realistic. They're self-created or created by our family, created by society, created by some body that we accepted, and then we allowed it to limit ourselves. And of course, unfortunately, we did a disservice to ourselves. Vampirism is a concept which begins in the subconscious mind. It is a power which hungers, that which seeks to consume all. There's a power within us that takes place in our subconscious mind where we want to consume knowledge, wisdom, understanding, consume energy, consume everything to empower ourselves. Unfortunately, the society and the world you live in looks upon some of these things as scary, wrong, incorrect, whatever. And that's because they really do not understand the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, things of that nature. But we'll get to that in a minute. So realize that vampirism, the concept itself begins in your subconscious mind. Okay? And if you analyze yourself and you really ask yourself, well, why am I even listening to this dude babble on this video right now? Is because there's a part of you that wants to consume all the power you can, all the knowledge you can to become more powerful yourself. Otherwise, a lot of y'all would not be listening. This hunger is manifest in our desire to achieve our goals in this life, to possess life and become masters of this world. This is what we discussed yesterday. You are the master of your world, the commander of your world. And your hunger, your passion should fuel you to be the master of your personal world. Predatory spirituality is the instinctual spiritual power of devouring and absorbing spirits via the practice of magic. It defines the characteristics of being a god. Now, what is predatory spirituality? Some of you are by nature, and yeah, some of you are listening and watching this video right now, have always consumed and drained energy from people. You ever wonder why when you were around people, you got charged up and other people seem to get tired? But you all charged up, you hype, you like, yo, let's keep rolling, let's keep doing this. It's 3, 4 in the morning. You still want more. You still ready to keep going, getting more energy. And they just falling apart, falling asleep. That's possibly because you've always been a vampire. You've always been an energy drainer and may not have ever realized this. Some of you are in sexual action when you're having coitus or oral sex or whatever. You tend to consume energy of your partner. They're totally passed the hell out. And you over there dancing, having a good old time, just chilling, just wide awake, charged up. They're snoring, and you just charged up. You doing a ritual, you watching TV, you done danced to 10 songs, and they're still snoring. It's possible that you could have this vampiric attribute within you. So that's some of the things you have to kind of like ask yourself and address within yourself. Have I always done this? Do I have the ability to do this? Do I just step outside into the sun and I feel like I'm just absorbing energy from the sun, from the trees, from grass, from people around me, from all this stuff, and I'm just charged up? Is that you? Ask yourself. I can't answer that for you, but y'all can answer this for yourself, because some of y'all have had this natural ability. Okay, I can answer that for myself, but ask yourself, And some of y'all will have to be honest. Yes, I've always drained energy from people and get charged up. Well, you possibly could be that vampiric pimp. Anyways, all right. A vampire realizes that almost all living beings continue existence by feeding on another. Whether you're eating, listen, this even goes for you vegans. If them trees ain't there, you wouldn't be receiving any kind of nutrients, sustenance. You could be as vegan and anti-animal, pure animal rights and everything you want to be, but how do you think the tree feels when you chew on that leaf or chew on those vegetables coming up from the ground or whatever the case is? How do you think it feels? Like, these things have living energy. And if they have living energy, they have a consciousness on some shape, form, or fashion. And if they have a consciousness, they have some kind of emotions or feelings attached to it. So every time you think you're doing some great, super spiritual kind of thing because you're not eating meat, how do you think that damn broccoli feels when you put it in there and you take it and chop it out of the... Listen, man. Anyways, that's another story. Everything feeds on something else. Okay? Everything feeds on something else. Bacteria feeds on you sometimes. Causes colds and sicknesses and things of that nature. Everything is feeding on something else. Get this through your heads, y'all. Stop being so super spooky, spiritual, righteous, and really realize and look at life for what it is. Everything is feeding off of something. Cells sometimes feed off of another cell. Cancer cells are destroying other cells in your body. It's feeding off of that. Healthy cells feed off of other cells at times. You have to understand this concept in its most basic form to stop being so righteous and spooky about it. Look for ways to always gain knowledge. A vampire magician is always looking for ways to gain knowledge. Experience, my people, is the pathway to initiation. It doesn't mean you have to be in an initiatic order. It means self-initiation in itself too. Every experience you have is a self-initiation on your path. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's traveling somewhere. Every one of those experiences is an initiation to a new level of consciousness or experience or something of that nature. Look for wisdom from your experiences. Again, look for wisdom from your experiences. Always test yourself in this way. Now, before I go and give you examples of how to test yourself, address within yourself right now. Do you feel you challenge yourself? Or do you feel you shouldn't challenge yourself? Or do you feel you challenge yourself enough? Or you just try to run from every challenge? Ask yourself these questions. Now, look for wisdom from experience. Always test yourself in this way. Take long trips. I mean, look, sometimes I just be like, all right, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to ride down to Miami. That's only 3.5 hours from Orlando. All right, just turn on some music, I ride out. Now, if I want to go to Keys and go all the way down to Key West, that's like 6 hours from here. I've done that plenty of times. I challenge myself to take long trips plenty of times. It gives me time to think, all kinds of stuff. Do extensive, strenuous exercise. Challenge yourself to do extensive, strenuous exercise to your capacity. Go back to college, or if you're in college, learn about specific areas of learning that you have to challenge yourself. Let's say you're not that great in chemistry. Take a chemistry course, challenge yourself. You'd be surprised what you can do. In short, just simply challenge yourself on all levels. Building the mind builds the immortal spirit. Let me say this again. Building the mind builds the immortal spirit. The more you challenge yourself, the more you grow that immortal spirit. Chi or life energy is all around us. Drain it and grow strong from it. You absorb energy from focus itself using any part of chakras. You can get energy from being near the ocean or in the ocean. Going all the way in, swimming in the ocean, just putting yourself in there. Some of y'all who are connected to Yamaya or Lakun, you understand this process of being charged or recharged with energy when you go to the ocean and you do a ritual for Yamaya. Some of y'all may feel this when you go by lakes or you go by rivers and you feel a connection to Oshun, okay? Or the Nile River. If you ever get a chance to go to Egypt, you feel a connection and charged up. Or Tiamat, the maiden of the ocean, one of the original vampiric spirits or deities, okay? So you challenge yourself. You learn to feed off of energy all around you. All right? Now, here's what you have to really think about. Humanity seeks eternally a safety net. You put a safety net around yourself, and this is what this is what it means. Do you have a God to believe will save your soul? All the while, the same God is sending tsunamis, hurricanes, blizzards, and all conceivable disasters upon its own creation. Would this be a spirit you would open your arms to if you really realize that? Does it help you to know that while you sleep, your dreams grow heavy with the failures and shortcomings of a world around you? Realize this. The Iron Age is here. Kali is awakened, and she is very thirsty and hungry. Mediocrity has always been accepted, yet by it being perceived and related to, it is consumed and considered acceptable. Remind yourself of the so-called American slacker generation, the wonderful 1990s when, if being a college student, it was smiled upon to be someone who continually seeks to underachieve. Is this the highlight of your culture? Think about all of that. I'm just going to the different part of my notes here. And now, in your workings, especially as a vampire magician, you should have an in-depth understanding of chakras. The energy centers. You should have a very deep understanding of the chakras. The chakras are important in channeling and focusing chi, and the associations connected to the archdevas, archetypes, deities, whatever it floats your boat, there it is. To start with, this energy is moving upward through the spine will certainly activate a sense of calm and empowerment in the sorcerer. This will give a feeling of rising and elevation as you move up to each additional chakra. The vampire who visualizes the twin serpents coil upward around the spine, out of the shoulders and the connection to the Ajna chakra, and shortly after, all these aspects above will no doubt hold some results of driven workings. Okay, so you should, as a vampire magician, be very familiar in how to work your own chakras, how to help rise the serpents, the two serpents, also commonly known as the Kundalini. You should be familiar and be working on this as a vampire magician. You should know each chakra, and you should know the so-called positive and negative of each chakra. You should know what each chakra represents. You should know what archetypes are associated with that chakra. For example, the root chakra is connected to Ganesh. Some say Ganesha. Also, Ishu, Alegua, Papalegba, on and on and on and on. Okay? You should know what's connected to the root chakra. You should understand its definitions, its meanings, its positives, negatives, and it's important if you're trying to connect to that energy there and absorb that energy. The navel chakra, you should be familiar with that. Okay? Those are two power centers to drain and absorb sexual energy without even having to have sex with the individual. That's another note. All right, now we're going to get back into the astral projection before we move on to the Vampyre Adept aspect, and then we're going to finish it off, okay? And then take some questions. Astral projection is a process of magic in which change begins within the self first. In order to prepare your initiatory experience, if you choose in vampiric magic or sorcery, it is imperative that you align your mind with forces which are in direct control of the self. Firstly, one must prepare under the process of an asana, okay, or a posture. If you're not familiar with the yogic postures or asanas, it's time to get familiar with it, okay? A posture which relaxes your body to the point where you can feel energy flow between you and the air around you. One of the easiest postures to utilize is the dead man quartz, okay? Some of y'all are familiar with that if you've done yoga before. Your hands and arms are flat on the ground. Your palms are flat on the ground. You're laying with your body out, legs a little bit shoulder width apart, and you're breathing in and out your nose deeply. And you basically are concentrating on each area of your body and breathing relaxation into those areas of your body that you feel are tense. So you breathe into that area. If your legs are tense, breathe into that area till you feel that area relax and let go of the tension. You should do this for every part of your body. Once you have relaxed all of your body, it's easier to then project yourself astrally. When preparing to project, keep the spine straight and lay in a position with your arms and legs held straight out. Your arms should be resting to your side, like I just discussed this. Focus on rising up out of your body, meaning visualize your shadow body, your astral body rising up out of your physical body. This is when visualization is very important. Imagination is very important in this kind of vampiric magic work. Very important. An excellent method of developing this is to slow your heart rate by breathing exercises. Yes, I said this earlier. You should have a well-versed foundation on proper breathing. If you don't, or it came in a little late, get the book Science of Breath. It's just called Science of Breath by Yogi Rama Chakara. Okay? Excellent book written way back in the days, and it's excellent for learning how to breathe properly. This will assist you in your astral projection. Much of which will control your initiatory advancement on a vampire magician path. Breathe steadily and control your stillness and state of mind. Okay? Moving the astral body. Sit in a chair, legs directly in front of you and fingertips touching each other. Your hand from the thumb to the forefinger should be raised to your solar plexus level, and your two hands touching should form a type of triangle shape like this, okay? With the triangle shape looking downward. So it should be like this, or you could do it like this, okay? And you sit relaxed, okay? Start a careful breathing technique, 1, 2, 3, and then add a few more seconds between breaths. Now, I can't remember the name of this particular, it's a certain pranayama exercise, but I'll share it with you now. You take your thumb and you take your index and your forefinger, okay? It's alternate nose breathing, but I forgot the proper title that they use in the Sanskrit. You hold this down and you breathe through this nostril. Let's say when you first start off, you're going to be short of breath if you're not naturally breathing deeply. But let's say you do 5 seconds. You hold the breath. Don't let it go. You hold the breath here. Then you take this and cover this. Okay? And then you exhale out of there. Okay? So you go back and forth doing this. Practice that. By doing this, you will notice you control your heart rate. If you are ever in a situation of being nervous, you will be able to utilize this to make yourself think clearly. I'm telling you now, get that book, Science of Breath. It's very important. It's not that expensive. Get the book. It will help you in your astral projections, okay? Pressing your fingers together, you will want with each exhale to watch and visualize your astral energy to flow through your fingers. This process should continue for several minutes. Visualize your astral body in the color, the extent of which it is larger than your physical body. You will now want to begin visualizing and moving a sharpened end of your astral body to extend out like a serpent would rise up. This will take some practice, but extending the astral from your own body, you will notice that you can create tendrils, which are like arms or tentacles that an octopus would have, and you can control it by your will alone. All right? So practice astral projection on a nightly basis. If you find yourself attracted to vampiric magic, sorcery, practice astral projecting visualization on a nightly basis. Okay? Now, to add on to that, when you create your astral body, especially as a vampire magician, you should create your astral or shadow body into the kind of archetype, creature, or whatever you want to create it into. When I create mine, it's a vampiric shadow body. Okay? I create a vampiric shadow body when I astral project. And that's because when I astral project, one of the express purposes I'm doing this for is to absorb energy. Also, because the vampire and the symbolism behind the vampire, they're known to be very seductive. So I will also project myself to a target, and while they're asleep, place thoughts in their subconscious mind for networking, financial success, business endeavors, whatever it is that you feel that you would like to do. This is a perfect opportunity to do that. Perfect opportunity to do that. So now let's go and deal with a little bit with the Vampyre Adept. The Vampyre Adept, the word adept comes from the Latin word adeptus, which means skillful. In occult systems, the adept is an advanced student of magic, alchemy, and mysticism. Traditionally, in alchemy, the magical adept has mastered the secrets of the Philosopher's Stone and is able to commune with their higher guardian angel or higher self, the vampire equivalent of which is the dragon. The Vampyre Adept has met specific criteria and is fully awakened in both the day side and night side. They must have a very strong day side foundation, meaning these are the currents that you operate in during the day, whether it's business, education, whether it's certain practices that you can do during the day. You should be very skilled in that. And you should have advanced knowledge of vampire traditions, philosophy, and culture. Now, while I'm here, let me express this right now. Erase from your mind, please, that the vampire philosophy, the vampire mythology and symbolism comes from Europe. Bullshit. Yes, it does have some basis in Europe, but if you go into West Africa, and I'm not even dealing with Kemet because we know a lot of it or its origins are in Kemet. I'm dealing with West Africa right now. You have what is called the Obayifo. Obayifo. This is a vampiric spirit that is found in West Africa. I believe it was found amongst the Akan or the Ashanti. Okay? And it's actually something that we accepted to be true of the vampiric spirits. So this is found in West Africa well before Europe was playing its thing. So if you're not familiar, and you always ask yourself, yeah, but I know about Kemet and all that, but where can I find it in West African tradition? Well, there you go. It's called the Obayifo. Go look it up. Some of the stories are going to be a little exaggerated, but anyways, it is a vampiric spirit, and it was found, and it's found thousands of years ago in West Africa and still believed in today. So it's not just a European concept, y'all. It came from us. Like many of these things came from melanated people, and then when it got to Europe, they adapted it to their culture and their society and things of that nature. All right? But it does exist in West Africa, just on the basis, if you were wondering or ever, wanted to find out, there it is. There's something that you could go research, check out for yourself, but it is found in West Africa as well. So yes, the vampiric tradition is a part of us as well. Okay? It's not a European thing solely. It's originated with us. A vampire, or someone who is seeking to be a vampire adept, must truly dedicate themselves to the quest for immortality. This is something we discussed yesterday. Partly we went into the quest for immortality. To be fully awakened to the subtle reality and be able to practice basic and elementary feeding techniques or absorbing techniques at will. The vampire adept must have also validated the vampire current within themselves and made successful communion with the ancestors. Let me explain this now. Vampyre Magick. The reason why I'm really connected to this is because Vampyre Magick has several elements in it. One of them is connecting to your ancestors, communing with your ancestors for knowledge, wisdom, and guidance. Something that we as melanated people have done for thousands of years. It's a part of our culture before we got inundated with this monotheistic religious bullcrap. Okay? We always commune with our ancestors and spirits. That was a part of it. So ancestral communion, necromancy, or things of that nature is very much a part of the vampire magician. Vampyre Magick path. The vampire adept strives for a solid twilight equilibrium between their day side and night side lives while seeing the world through the dragon's eyes. Now, if you want to create a vampire altar, you should have a black cloth on the table. You can have a black hilted double-edged blade or any kind of a theme. You should have something representing a coffin. Okay? I have a coffin. I have a few coffins for sale on the website serpentcrystals.com. Check it out. I have a black necromantic vampiric coffin for sale right now. It's lovely. It's nice. Check it out. You should have a coffin. Okay? You should have a black mirror, scrying mirror, black mirror, whatever you want to call it. It should be on. You should have figurines or statues representing the vampire. And I forgot to bring my vampire statue out. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to bring it out now to give you an example of what's he referring to. 1 second. All right. This is my vampiric statue. That's the pimp vampire. He's dancing for you. Anyways. Okay. So you can have a vampiric statue, figurines. You should have vampiric sigils. Okay. Any sigils that you feel you're connected with that runs along with the vampiric current, work with it. Like, for example, it doesn't just have to be sigils. It could be yantras, okay? The Kali yantra is one that's perfect. Kali is connected to vampiric current. You can have a Kali yantra on there, okay? You should have a vampire ankh. I have that also on the website, the vampiric ankh. You have a cauldron for burning incense. Okay, you should also have a photo of your ancestors, candles, specifically red, purple, silver, and black candles. You can have a chalice and Florida water. I also have that for sale on the website. So if you want to create a vampiric altar, there's an example of what you can do. All right. Remember that an altar is a personal focus point of each vampire and are highly personal, decorated, and customized, reflecting the spirit, interests, and perspectives of its owner. Looking at a personal altar is an interesting way to get to know another vampire. All right? Looking at the altar will say a lot about what they're connected with and what they're working with. Vampiric alchemy. Throughout history, alchemy has been the quest to discover the secrets of the legendary Philosopher's Stone, transmute base metals into gold, and create the fabled elixir of immortality. This is a worthy goal that most vampires try to reach. From that vampiric perspective, the quest for the Philosopher's Stone is a metaphor for the quest of Khepr. As you know, Khepra is related to the transformational energy of Khepra rising each morning, okay, in the Kemetic concept. And it's associated with spiritual ascension and conjunction, turning the lead of mortalities or mortalism into the gold of immortality. Within the Vampyre mysteries, alchemy actually relates to the quest for immortality, which is the never-ending process. A common cliche states that the journey is what matters, not the destination. The vampire must never pause or turn back from their journey towards immortality. Never leave the path of immortality to go back to be a mundane, mortal individual. Immortality is a state that must be constantly maintained. It is timeless. Our ascension and full awakening is free of the limitations of time. The goal of vampiric alchemy is achieving this perception on the divine plane of existence, which is the teaching of the inner mysteries. Lastly, the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records are a compendium of the entire intellectual history and experience of all sentient beings. The records are essentially the ultimate library. Carl Jung's theory of the collective human unconscious may be seen as a very limited version of the Akashic Records. The term Akasha means space or sky in Sanskrit. In Hindu philosophy, it is the element of spirit, one of the 5 basic forces in the universe. This term found its way into Western magic through the Theosophist or Theosophist movement and eventually was assumed by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Since the 19th century, many esoteric and spiritual leaders claim to have visited the halls of the Akashic Records and found occult wisdom or inspiration there. Within the halls of the Akashic Records, all secrets of creation and immortality may be revealed. So, I was coming from the book, The Vampyre Gate, Vampyre Magician from Michael W. Ford. I'm coming from Vampyre Mysteries, or what is called Vampyre Mysteries, The Purple Veils by Father Sebastian. I also came from the Book of Vampyre from Michael W. Ford. And let me just read this one last excerpt from the Vampyre Adept. I'll tell you the author of that book in a second. The dimension of control. All is mind stuff. The ability to control the elements of experience in accordance with your conscious desire is a dimension of control. When you choose to close or open your hand and do so, this is an example of control familiar to you. Moving the voluntary muscles of your body, ordinary walking, stretching, blinking your eyes, breathing, talking, and so forth are all common examples of control. Extending your control over most of your experience includes all of the magical powers which your people think of when they hear the word magic. Okay? When you extend your ability to move your finger so that you can move a paperweight without physical contact, this is called psychokinesis or mind over matter. When you extend your ability to see the paperweight in front of you so that you can see through a wall to a book on a desk behind that wall, this is called clairvoyance or remote viewing. When you extend your ability to talk with someone miles away without a telephone, this is called telepathy or mind reading. All of these are simple extensions of your commitment to common powers of control over your environment. You treat these common skills as if they were nothing, yet in actuality, the mystery of how you can move your hand once you mentally choose to do so is no better understood by you than the demonstrated ability of someone who have moved objects without touching them. On one level, the whole universe of experience is made up of a form of mental substance or mind stuff, what the most ancient yogi rishis of India called the prakriti. The prakriti. So it is that your mind does not only receive information through your senses about the universe around you, but also your mind can project changes upon the universe because the basic nature of reality is mental. Everything that exists in experience is made up from this mental substance, and therefore your mind can directly influence the shape and behavior of the universe around you. Keep that in mind. All is mind, mind is all. You shape your very existence. You shape the objective universe that you live in. You are the creator and never really realize it because we've been given our power externally to some fictitious god, goddess, things of that nature. Okay? Anyways, this book is called the Vampyre Adept Bible. And I don't see an author for it right now. It belongs to the Temple of the Vampyre. That's who authored it. It's called the Vampyre Adept Bible by the Temple of the Vampyre. All right. So now that we got the juiciness out the way, what questions y'all got? All right. While y'all write new questions, let me go up here and see old questions or anything like that. Gypsy Goddess, boy. Yes, breathing is listen. For those who practice sex magic, breathing is very important. You may not really think so because you're in the moment, but breathing is very important in sex magic. It helps with stamina, and it helps you synchronize yourself with your partner, which causes greater results in your sex magic. All right. Peace of Lord Kush Goddess. True, Trina. Me, myself, and I also was a vegan for 10 years and got sick. That's good, Omar. Reiki courses are very good, especially if you learn how to tap into that Reiki energy and utilize it in a vampiric sense. That's something else, though. I'll share that another time. I may do a class on that one time. That's correct. I'll give you an example. Like Philip Land said, rock climbing, ice climbing, hiking at high altitude helped a lot. One of the things I did, when was it? Last year in December, I had gone on vacation, and I was in Grand Turks and Caicos, okay? I was in Grand Turk Island, and I challenged myself by doing, what the hell is that called, man? Zip lining, right? Now, let me tell you, it was really high, but what really made it scary was it was over, part of it was over the ocean. Woo. Well, let me tell you, I had to face Fizz, my niggas. Fizz. You know, I thought I wasn't that afraid of heights, but when I got up there and looked down and I said, damn, I only got rope on me and this damn little straps. It was a challenge, and I overcame my fears and I completed it. And from that day forth, I conquered any fears I had about heights. So always challenge yourself in ways that you know you have a fear about or you have some apprehension about. True. Gypsy Goddess drains batteries, not even intentional. Light bulbs, yes. Some of us have really strong energy where we could drain anything. You can drain electrical currents, energy from electrical currents, light bulbs, things of that nature. You just have to really study yourself and think about it. And some of y'all have naturally been draining individuals. Energy from nature, energy from electrical currents, things of that nature. If you really pay attention, you'll start to notice this. That's true, Mario. Mario works, has his own business, and when he comes around, his employees and stuff, he be draining them. He charged up, but he be draining them. I mean, people naturally do this, haven't even really taken account. They just thought it was some mistake or just something that happened by accident. No, there's no mistake in this. This is just something you possibly naturally have always done. True. Traveling from Miami, Boston, Miami, different places like that is not only an experience, but it's a challenge in itself. And people will think you're cuckoo nuts, but if you enjoy doing things like that, by all means, keep doing it, because not only are you challenging yourself to do some extensive traveling, you're learning, you're seeing new places, but also it's an energy charger. You charge yourself up when you challenge yourself. All right, Stray Panther just stands in the sun. It's all good. Yes, most of the energy for your root chakra, a lot of it comes from the earth itself. It comes up from the earth. So you naturally tune into the root chakra naturally. If you're grounded in reality, you naturally are rooted in your root chakra should be grounded and rooted in reality. Not Spookville like a lot of people tend to go. Yeah. Trust me, everybody who's ever met me, Andre, have always thought I'm different, unique, weird, crazy, whatever, and I love it. All right. True. That's true. Andre's at work and he's doing mad work. Still right now, still going. And that's basically when you tap into the ethers, you tap into that life force. Some of us have experienced this. You've been mad tired. You could be really tired. And all of a sudden you get this second wind, so to speak, where you just get charged up again to go another 3-4 hours. What happened is you tapped into the life force energy around you to charge yourself up, and unconsciously you did it. You weren't even conscious of this. You did it. That's how you were able to go another 3-4 hours when you thought you couldn't go anymore. Okay, now I am 444-999. How do you remove your chakras? This is the question I have, because there's always people coming up with these new concepts that really make no sense. You can't really remove your chakras. Your chakras are connected to you since birth. It is your energy centers. It's there since birth. Like, I don't understand how people can say they're removing their chakras. Like, you can tap into chakras. You can take energy from chakras. Your chakras could be low, off balance, unaligned, but you can't remove them. If you remove your essence or life force, where would it go? I mean, how would you survive? You become a zombie, literally. Well, anyways, that's a different story. I'm just saying, because this is some of the things that I hear, and people will promote some of these things, and it just never really made sense when I hear some of these things. Exactly, Omar. When we do these live lectures, it's an exchange of energy. It's an exchange of energy. My energy, you all can feel through the lectures, the energy I put behind it, and some of y'all are absorbing that energy. This is why some of y'all get hyped off of the energy. Okay? Some of y'all may get drained. This is y'all feeding me. Nice stuff. Anyway. Okay, good question by Katir. Okay. Peace. I hear you say a sound mind. What is that really? Because I or someone may think they got one and don't, then go down this path and get whacked. All right, a sound mind is this. A sound mind is having dealt with a lot of your shadow self. Meaning, you've dealt with the pains, the abuses, the traumas, the emotional hangups, the repressed emotions, the repressed sexual thoughts or feelings, the perversions. You've dealt with every aspect of that, or for a good part, a lot of that. Why is that important? We constantly say, I want to be a whole or complete being. I didn't say whole, H-O-E. I said whole, a complete being. But how can you be complete if you've never faced, encountered, or done work on your shadow or abysmic side? Your void, your darkness, whatever you want to call it. We cannot be a total or complete being if we've never done the work or enough work on that side, so our mind is not completely sound. Because what happens is, what we haven't dealt with some of those things, right? Let's say you have an attention issue and you become attention whore your whole life. What happens is that when you wanted attention from mommy dearest, she was busy gossiping away with her friend on the phone. You wanted her attention the most at that moment. She was busy gossiping about who knows what. Okay? Which in melanated cultures, that's a thing to do, is gossip. In the Puerto Rican culture, they call that bochinche. Bochinche actually comes from an African word, but in the meaning we give it today is called gossiping. Okay? She was so busy gossiping that she didn't see you trying to get her attention because you wanted to show her a drawing you did in kindergarten that meant so much to you that you drew something about how you love your mama, but she was so distracted gossiping. What happens at that very moment is that one of your core beliefs or core part of yourself is not met, which then creates an issue of wanting attention. Even to extreme matters, you will go to extreme matters to get the attention from that person. So your whole life, you lead your life basically trying to get attention from people and do some crazy stuff to get that attention because of that one issue, which propelled itself, okay? It grew in itself, compounded itself, grew to enormous proportions that you became a super extra attention whore your whole life. That creates an unsound mind because the things you do to get that attention can put you at risk sometimes. So these are examples of what can lead to an unsound mind. So you have to go into that part of yourself, that attention, that abandonment part, because those parts of yourself are the parts that have created a habitual pattern in your life that lead you down a path that can be detrimental. And we keep repeating this cycle over and over and then wonder, well, why can't I get this or why can't I do this? Is because we have not encountered or dealt with that aspect of ourselves. If you have not dealt with that part of yourself, how can you possibly really think your mind can be sound and you're not completely doing the work in both realms, the body of light and the shadow body? It's easy to do work on the body of light. We're all familiar with those workings. We're all familiar with those practices. But to do work on the shadow self is very unconventional and something that is not commonly practiced. So a sound mind is when you've dealt with a lot of those issues and gained control over that. You cleared it. You mastered and controlled it. You've dealt with the emotions and the pain and the trauma of those situations that now no longer hold or have sway over you to affect you. So that in itself would be a definition of what a sound mind is in a nutshell. So that's just an example. I hope that answers some of your question, Katia, okay? But that's just an example of what could be having a sound mind as opposed to not having a sound mind. Just got to be real with you. Some of the most difficult things, especially walking a magical path, is finding a partner sometimes that is on that path. That could be difficult, really difficult. Because of our views, of our programming, a lot of people just can't accept that. So it can be difficult. All right, so Andre Polk, to say it again, West African vampirism is called, and I'm going to spell it in here, Obe Ifo, okay? Good, Obsidian Goddess. Challenge yourself. It's fun, but it's, if you're afraid of heights, it's challenging too. It's very fun, but it's challenging too because some of the heights of these zip lines are way up there. And like I said, all you have is a strap and some rope holding you to the line. Yeah, something else, dude. Oh, shit. This thing always jumps so freaking far ahead. All right, hold on. One of my greatest challenges is to decide everything I own, move to Israel when my hardcore awakening began, then travel around the world, experience many difficulties. Good. That itself is a great challenge, Trina, because we always feel like we want to have some stability or some comfort zone. And to sell everything and be able to travel around the world, travel to destinations you want to, and even live there for a while, that's a challenge in itself because we all want to be comfortable. We all want to have some level of consistency and security. That's a super strong challenge. Okay. Stray Panther. if you next time you feel yourself being drained or you feel your energy drained, at that moment meditate. Meditate on the thought of what you're experiencing, and you will be able to diagnose if it's an energy drain from the electrical output around us. Meaning, we have computers, televisions, everything is digitized or electrical, drains your body. So you can really meditate on this and figure this out. You can figure out if it's from the electrical output in your house, which then in that case you should unplug a lot of your stuff at night when you go to sleep. Or you meditate on it, you can feel if it's actually an external source draining you. Albeit it could be a person, it could be somebody you came in contact with. One thing I failed to mention earlier was this, that you don't only drain or absorb energy from someone's chakras. You don't only absorb energy through astral plane. You could also absorb energy from shaking someone's hand. It's as simple as touching someone or shaking their hand, and you could absorb energy from them. If your focus is on absorbing energy when you shake their hand, you literally will absorb their energy. So one of the challenges is that when you feel yourself starting to be drained is to meditate and focus on where you feel you're being drained from. Is it your chakras? Okay, what chakra is it? Okay, is it a mental draining? And you can start to pinpoint where and how it happened or who is doing it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The mind is very perceptive, and especially your subconscious, it can tell you and tap into exactly what source is draining you. So my advice to you is next time that something like that happens, meditate on trying to figure out, first of all, where you're being drained from, and then meditate on how or who or what is draining you. Yes, I've heard all of that. There's three main ones, and there's four that are outside the body. There's all kinds of theories on this. But here's the problem with this. A lot of these theories about the chakras are a lot of new age modern day theories. If you really want to understand the chakras, go back to the older documents, written records about chakras way back in the early 1900s, even 1800s. If you can gain access to some of those books or documents, when they first started making contact with the gurus and the yogis and the yoginis and things of that nature, that's where you'll get the source and understanding of what chakras really are. A lot of this modern bull crap age shit is just that. It's bullshit. It's people coming along and then theorizing, oh, well, what about if the chakras really ain't in the body? Or what about if they sit outside the body? You'll find depictions in Sanskrit of the chakras actually aligned with the body or somehow aligned on the outside of the body and inside. It depends. The thing is, to get the original source of a lot of where this concept of chakras come from, go and find some of the oldest sources. I read a lot of some of the oldest sources. Wanna have the book here. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it now, but it was written by Sir John Woodruff. I think it's Kundalini Yoga. It's one of the oldest books written on yoga here in America. Way back before this movement of yoga just bombarded us, and this new age crap bombarded it too. You have to do that because a lot of this modern day descriptions or things like that aren't really found in bases of the original sources. They're people just theorizing, trying to sound deep and heavy about what chakras are, where they are, and things of that nature. All I know is from my experience and studies, you have energy centers along your body or near your body that you work with on a consistent basis. Okay? That's what I do know. Anything after that, I'm not really concerned with what these modern age people are saying, because they just spook out everything or change everything. And anyway, that's another story. Depends. I choose to be happy. Says, should we focus on a particular place to travel? It depends. First of all, it depends on your purpose for doing the astral travel. Second, it depends on where you want to go and if you're trying to visit a place or someone. So, yes, in the case if you're trying to visit a location or someone, you should have a certain place you want to travel to. So, it actually depends on your focus for the astral travel, and then you can focus on the location or place you would like to travel to. But first is the purpose and the goal of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, Omar asks, when you work with your own created entities, archetypes, you stop working with established, known entities like Kali, etc. Are we not giving up the collective energies of the entities we will give up? Yes, that's the point. When you create your own, you should be giving up the energy of the collective, unconscious, created archetypes or deities. Why is that important? Because now you're no longer bound to a certain programming definition or uh, understanding of this particular archetype. Now, if you created your own, that archetype is solely based on you, based upon the characteristics, the attributes you created it with, the consciousness you put into it. In essence, that archetype is a reflection that you created. Your new archetype you created is essentially you. It's just a reflection of you that you created. Okay? And when you create it and you share it, let's say, and people start to accept that archetype, now it becomes fueled with more energy. And then it becomes an archetype that is fueled by our consciousness, and it becomes an astral energy that drains and absorbs energy based upon the energy we feed it. But the sole creator of that is the original source of that. They're the ones who receive most of the energy if we accept it once it's been created and shared with other people. But yes, you should be trying to create your own to disconnect from these mainstream archetypes, these cultural and ancestral and historical archetypes. You should disconnect and create your own archetype, which will be fed by yourself, a reflection of your own consciousness, a reflection of your own energy, which essentially is you. It'd be a version of your higher self as you imagine it. So the goal is to eventually disconnect from the collective unconscious. See, if you're on the path of self-mastery, your goal is to disconnect from anybody else's definition of anything, whether it's archetypes, whether it's chakras, whether it's all this, and discover these things for yourself, validate them for yourself as to whether it's true, not true, to create this, to give it your energy or not. These things are what the goal is. It's not to consistently feed Kali day and night. Because when you feed Kali, that's keeping the Kali energy alive that was created by the collective unconsciousness. And yes, you can gain results and you can gain power through it. But if you really want to gain unlimited power, create your own archetypes from a reflection of yourself. Then you're not dissipating your energy, but you're increasing your energy for yourself. Okay, where am I at? God damn it. Okay. Ask kids for you. Yes. One of the things that always bothers me is the way we speak to our kids, especially when our own people. We tend to really speak viciously to our kids, and then we wonder. Listen, one thing I've noticed is if you really want to create geniuses, have children that are geniuses, you take every moment, instead of cussing them out, yelling at them, whooping them, spanking them, instead of doing that, you take that moment to explain to them so they understand things. You share knowledge with them, and that stands and sticks with them a lot longer and more beneficial for them than an ass whooping. Okay? Not saying that some of these kids don't need an ass whooping, because some do. But what I'm saying is we tend to have a habit of unleashing our own bullcrap on the kid, speaking to that kid as if they're a damn slave or an animal, and then we wonder why the kids start to rebel at a later age, because we speak to them and show them give them no credit for knowledge or understanding or conscious awareness. When some of these kids are smarter than their damn parents at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, they're smarter than their damn parents. But because the way their parents treat them, talk to them, they have to suppress a lot of that. And, that's adverse to their growth. But I feel you on that. Your path should always be your main focus. And when you on your path and really working your path, the right individual will come to you. That I can guarantee from experience. You master yourself, you work on yourself, you overcome these obstacles or blockages that we may not be aware of. You open the door to draw that right individual that's going to be your partner for a long length of time to you. But that usually happens when you put your emphasis and focus on your self-development, on your growth, on your transformation. That's when it really starts to occur. It just seems like when you really dedicate yourself to your path and working on you, that the work is being done and the obstacles, the reprogramming is taking shape and hold, that you will draw into your life that individual that is going to walk with you, because you now basically magnetize your life to draw into your life individuals that are more of your vibration and frequency. But that really happens, though. The key is it really happens when you really focus yourself on your path and give 100% over to your own path. That's when you really start to bring people into your life that are more what you need, not so much of what we want. Jennifer Long, ain't seen you a while, girl. All right, Jennifer challenged herself by going to the Grand Canyon. She was afraid of the night, but it helped her control the uncomfortable feelings moving forward, fear of heights. Okay, I think she meant fear of heights, not fear of nights. Anyways, yeah, that spell check is something else. All right, this thing skipped again on me. Okay. All I could do is laugh at some of the stuff people do. So look, Allure Kush Goddess says this guy sent a video of him pleasuring himself with the Quran, the Bible, and the money. Boy, I tell you, boy, this is some things that people do. Woo. Did he do an energy drain ritual? Then he apologized for sending it months later. Well, first of all, Allure Kush Goddess, you can't really apologize for something you already did. That's something I think that people don't understand. It's already done. So how the hell you really can apologize for that? It's already been done. The evidence was seen. The damage, whatever occurred, it's already been done. So what do you really? I never understood why people apologize for something when it's already done. You should apologize before you do the damn thing. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, in a sense, when you do rituals like that, that is more like a deconstruction, reconstruction kind of ritual, where you're taking things that were considered holy and sacred, and you basically deconstruct and reconstruct it in a way that you feel suitable. Now, that I ain't even gonna comment on that ritual he did. I'm just saying, people just do some stuff, but you can do things like that. Well, anything, you could utilize any part of a human being, of souls, of spirit beings. You could even drain soulless people. The soul and the spirit are completely different. When you're feeding off of the spirit, which is the life force, not so much the soul, which is more connected to the emotional body. So you could feed off of soulless people too. Matter of fact, they're some of the best people to feed off because their emotions are not tied into it. All right. So I'm just sharing that with my brother. I am 444. You knew him since a teenager. Sure. Straight Panther. Here's a simple visualization exercise for draining energy. Well, I'm gonna say this. Depends on who or what you want to drain. Let's say you see this sexy female. You just wanna feel that energy. You just want to tap into that energy. You wanna taste that energy. You want to drain some of that energy. Visualize the individual. Then visualize, while you're sitting, standing, whatever, visualize yourself extending an arm, a tentacle, like an octopus arm, okay? Visualize yourself extending that arm from your solar plexus or your third eye or your root chakra or navel chakra, and tapping into the energy you're trying to gain from her. If it's emotional energy, you tap into the heart chakra, solar plexus area. If you're trying to drain sexual energy, you tap into the navel and root chakra. But you visualize that arm extending from yourself out into that area, and then you visualize the energy. However you see energy, you visualize the energy coming through the arm back into yourself. And as it's coming back into yourself, you visualize yourself either expanding, yourself becoming more lit with energy, or however you see it. That's a simple way of visualizing draining energy or absorbing energy. I hope that helps you, but that's just a simple example of a visualization you could do to absorb energy. Yeah, a lower Kush goddess he was. Because all the Bible thumpers and all the Quranic spookers, they fed their emotions to that individual when they saw that video. Let's say, just hypothetically, let's say that video was shared with other people. They fed their emotions into that video, which was allowing that individual to absorb that energy. Good, Obsidian Goddess. Let me know how it goes when you do that zip liner. Okay. Yes, there are spiritual entities that are connected with hurricanes. We're here in Florida are very familiar with hurricanes. You guys in North Carolina and South Carolina have not gotten hit in a minute, like really strongly hit, but we get hit quite often. And I can tell you this. If you know, like I know, you know that Set is symbolic of chaos, storms, and things of that nature. Well, Set had 72 helpers, or what they call the Sabaw. Set, when the storms come, there's also spirit entities that were sent out by Set during the storms. Okay? So what you are experiencing or tapping into is there's these spirit entities that work with chaotic energy. Hurricanes in particular are chaotic energy. Okay? So they work and feed off of those energies when it happens. They come through with the hurricane and they're feeding off of the fears of people. This is why before a storm hits, what do you feel most people experiencing? A high level of stress and fear. That is a feeding ground for these spiritual entities or beings or things of that nature that know how to drain energy from people having fear and stress and things of that nature. So yes, storms, particularly like hurricanes, tornadoes, they are synonymous with spiritual entities feeding that energy. I mean, feeding off of that energy of stress, fear, worry. That happens a lot in storms. Exactly, Gypsy God. If we wreck the kid's self-esteem at an early age and then we expect them to do great works when you just destroyed them. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these young kids are super intelligent. A lot of times they're smarter than the parents. That I've seen. Yes, as a matter of fact, Stray Panther, that's next Sunday. The section I was reading from, I left off right before, and I did that purposely. I did that purposely. But the next section that we will be discussing for next Sunday is servitor creation and astral entities. So you're either tapping into my consciousness and seeing what's about to come down, Stray Panther, or we just tuning in and connecting on that vibration. So yes, next week we're going to be talking about the servitors and astral entities. All right. I have a servitor too, and this is like I showed you this. This is the symbol I that I got for my servitor. Okay, I even gave him a name and everything else, but I'm not gonna share that because there's power in knowing the name. And once you know the name of my servitor, you can start to control it. So I use this as a symbol of my servitor to do vampiric, necromantic work, all kinds of work of that nature. See that pimp daddy right there? Anyway. So, anyways, a lot of kids are afraid of their power, and one of the reasons why is because we never have taught them how to use that power. And if we have, we can only teach them as much as we know at the time. So kids grow up being afraid of it, or they're shunned for it, or people in school make fun of them, so they want to kind of hide it. But give her time. In time, she will embrace that full power of herself, and she will become that powerful witch she's intended to be. So that just that time in itself will take care of it. All right, Obsidian guys, you have a good night too. All right, cool. Okay, here's something else. All right, I'm happy you said that because I'm going to share something about this thing. Omar says when a person embarks on a left-hand path, self-mastery path, does the universe test that person with hard times in life? I think you said something about that in the radio show. Yes. But here's the thing. The universe ain't doing shit. Now, let me explain to you what I mean by that. Remember earlier when the video started, I said it seems like our people always have a crutch of something external they want to put something on. The new crutch with this new age conscious community coon crap is the universe. Everything is the universe. The universe is tickling my left ball sack. The universe is touching my nipples. The universe is empowering me with spiritual strength and power. The universe is this. You know what that sounds like to me? That the universe took the words God, Allah, Yahweh, whatever, and was replaced by the word universe. That's exactly what it's become. This whole universe phenomena, this whole universe is this, and universe is testing me. Okay, that is another external crutch. So, yes, you do get tested, but it's not the universe testing you. It's yourself testing you. I'll give you an example. Once you tell yourself, I'm hot shit, I'm this kind of person, or I've overcome this issue and problem, or things like that, you just created your next test. You simply created your next test because you just said something, you affirmed something about a belief you have about yourself, how great, how you accomplished this, or what you did or didn't do, all this. You just created your next test. Okay? Not no universe, because the universe, on the left-hand path, you control the universe, you control nature, you control all of that. You're not subservient to the universe. You're not responding to the universe. The universe, no. See, this is how we exchange one thing for the other to still keep ourselves bounded to the religious mentality of something external blessing us, doing something for us, against it, whatever the case may be. You are the universe. You are the subjective universe that connects with your objective universe. You are your own universe. There is nothing out there doing it for you. You have to get this clear, people. You are the God. There is no other God. Not even the universe is your God. Because there isn't one universe. There's multiverses. Okay? There's multiple verses existing simultaneously. And just like you may, like say, for example, Brother Omar, you're existing here, you have a multiverse existence too. Meaning you're existing here in this galaxy, in this solar system, and you're known as Omar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's another version of you existing in in this multiverse, in another dimension, simultaneously right now. What happens is your true self is using all of those experiences on yourselves in these different dimensions to create the God you, to bring you back to the level and awareness of who you are, your true or higher self, as people would say. So there's not one universe, there's multiverses, and you're experiencing multiverses. This is why sometimes you have what is called deja vu. It's because your other existence in one of these other multiverses went through a similar experience, and all of a sudden you're like, yo, this is deja vu. I swore I've seen this before. What the thing is, there's multiple using these multiverses, but there's one conscious or one consciousness of all of y'all. There's just one supreme consciousness of all of y'all, or the super consciousness that ties all of y'all together. I know that's a nutshell, and this is maybe going a little too much, but I'm just saying. This is the connection that we have to start understanding to link this path and this work together. Yes, Straight Panther, Vampyre Magick is connected to shape-shifting, skinwalking, things of that nature, because in the astral form, you are shape-shifting. You should never astral project yourself as a vampire magician as yourself. You should have a vampiric shadow body you create. Mine is a vampire, much like this pimp right here, except my pimp is a little darker than this pimp. All right, so my vampiric pimp in a shadow astral form is similar to this. You can shapeshift into a werewolf. You can shapeshift into a bat. You can shapeshift into a hawk. You can shapeshift into whatever you want, but you should never, as a vampire magician, astral project in your regular body. You should shapeshift into a different body in your astral work. All right? Some of these kids do know magic. Some of these kids do communicate with spirits. We shut them down, take their imagination, and chop it up as parents, as family, as things like that because of our own programming, which is a shame. It's a damn shame, but we do a disservice to our kids when we do these things. Exactly, I am 444-999. You tell somebody something, and the very thing you tell them, you then get tested by that very thing. And the reason why you getting tested by that is because your true self is testing you to say, okay, nigga, you talking all this ish, but let's see if you really live in this ish. So we're going to test ourselves. And now either you pass or you fail. All right. Yep, exactly, Trina. That universe shit sounds like church to me. It does. This is exactly what I've been saying for a long time. All this universe stuff, if you really listen to it, sounds like some church, some masjid, some synagogue type of teaching. And you're sitting there and it's the universe doing this, and the universe is doing that, and the universe did this, and then you, oh, thank the universe for my blessings. The universe blessed me with finances. Dude, you might as well just say God, Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah. It's the same thing. You ain't doing nothing special or different. You're not any deeper than you were yesterday if you exchange God for universe. Now, I would love if I heard more people saying, I'm a pimp, I'm a Mac, I'm the goddess, I did this and I accomplished this. Thank myself. I thank my God self. Not thank you, God. Thank you, universe. I thank my God self for doing this. Some of y'all that I've met in person, I've told y'all before when we've talked, and y'all be like, oh, well, thank you, Beniti, or thank you, Ravana, for doing this. I say, no, thank yourself. And the reason why I said this to people when I've met them in person is because I ain't doing nothing. I'm just sharing information. It's yourself that's either taking information, utilizing it to transform, adding on to it, exchanging it, doing what you do with it. I can't do a damn thing. So thank yourself for even listening tonight. Thank yourself for going on my website and purchasing. No, I'm stop. Thank yourself for doing this, y'all. Don't thank me. I'm just doing what I enjoy to do and I'm passionate about doing, sharing this information from my experience of taking a journey on a spiritual path for years and just sharing it with y'all. Don't thank me. I'm not doing nothing special. All I'm doing is sharing some shit that y'all could possibly benefit from. And hopefully y'all share some stuff with me I could benefit from. Do not think just because I'm sitting here, I am against learning from y'all. I'd love to hear from y'all and share stuff with me so I can learn some stuff that maybe I'm not like totally thinking about in that way. Your perception may expand my consciousness. I may be like, well, word, Joe, I never really thought about it like that. I'm feeling that. You understand? I'm always down to learn and share. I got a brother that I work with. He's busy a lot of times, so he can't always get on the videos. But this brother is, me and him are working on some comedic vampiric stuff. And I'm waiting for him to share some of the information he came up with. I'm willing to learn, y'all. I'm not above learning from people. I do not know it all, and I will never claim to know it all. Okay? All right. We get tested. We did it. Exactly. We always test ourselves, and you grow more from your own challenges. Jennifer Long says, what is skinwalking? If I'm not mistaken, skinwalking is similar to I ain't even gonna answer that because I know I've heard it before, and it's some a Native American concept that's very familiar with skinwalking. They use that a lot. So I'm gonna just do this and see what. Yeah, the Navajo culture uses that a lot. That's where I heard it before. Skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. This term is not used for healers, though. So that's what I did hear before. That's why I said it's from a Native American culture or a concept. True. Look forward to seeing you too, Gypsy Goddess. Oh, do this when you come and we actually meet you. Why don't you bring your bathtub with you so you can sit there in your bathtub while we you know what I'm saying, do some rituals and stuff. I think that would be like some hot shit. All right. So I want to see you in your bathtub, you know what I'm saying, when you come and we meet up. All right. So any other questions before we wrap this up this evening? In case y'all want to know, if you're interested in getting a vampiric statue or statue similar to this, you could go on a website called medievalcollectibles.com. They have a lot of stuff like this, y'all. Real good stuff like this. Once again, go to my website. I'm going to type it in here. I'm going to take a couple more questions. I'm going to just type this stuff in here so that y'all could go on there. Like I said yesterday and on the radio show, I have a lot of stuff that I have a Vampyre Magick section. Okay. I have hoodoo, voodoo, ritual oils, powders, herbs, Florida water, candles, skull, what else do I have on there? Vampiric oils. I'm going blank now. I got a lot of stuff on there. That's all I can remember. I didn't go too crazy because I first want to see what people are going to buy more. I want to see what the best sellers are so I can double up on that. But I got things like Black Arts Oil, which is good when you're working necromancy, black magic, or your vampiric magic. I got Spirit Guide Oil, which is really powerful when you're trying to communicate or contact or work with spirits. I got Nature Oil for those who feel they want a little more sexual energy or sexual charging as a man. For your sex magic, I got that oil there. I got Kali oils, Kali incense powders, Kali bath crystals to work your vampiric workings with Kali. I got a lot of that stuff. So go check out the website. I posted it up here. Wait, where'd it go? Did these motherfuckers erase that shit on me? Yo, word, they didn't let me put it in there. Okay. All right, here it is. I thought I put it in there. All right, so there it is, serpentcrystals.com. The word crystal is with an S, crystals.com, serpentcrystals.com. The reason I chose that name is because the vampiric order that's going to have a degree for the Sith and a lot of other things that is going to be done soon is called the Order of the Black Serpent. That's the name of the vampiric Sith Black Magic Left-Hand Path Order. The Order of the Black Serpent. So I chose serpent crystals to segue and connect the two. All right. Yes, I am 444-999. I will work on doing a video on the multiverse bodies and timelines. Yes, yes, and yes. I'm gonna have to start that class early though one night because that's a lot of information to share about that stuff. So I'm gonna get around to doing that. Definitely. mama yacht, ocean is your bath. I got you, girl. So once again, there's the website, serpentcrystals.com. Check it out. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody. Now, what I would like y'all to do, okay, is you can connect and contact me through the email on the website. Just put your suggestions of what products you would like for me to sell on there, okay? The prices are very nice. They're very reasonable. I ain't trying to pimp y'all, right, and charge crazy prices. Suggest what kind of products are missing that you would like to see there, or more of what you want on of what is already there, more of what you want, okay? Please, I'm trying to do this specifically. I'm trying to do this just to reach all people, but I'm trying to give us an outlet for those melanated people walking the left-hand path, the middle path, the path of self-mastery, whatever path you want to choose or claim. I want to dedicate this more to our people. It's for everybody, all races, cultures, nationalities, but I'm doing it with a little special flavor towards that, okay? So please give me suggestions and let me know what y'all really need or want on those sites. I try to include a little bit of everything. Like, for example, some of the herbs. I have devil's dung on there, okay? If you're anybody who knows about devil's dung and working with devil's dung in ritual magic, it's powerful. It smells like all shit on hell. That's why it's called devil's dung. But it's powerful shit to work with, okay? So I have mugwort on there. I have wormwood on there. I believe I have wormwood. I have a lot of herbs. Okay, I work a lot with herbs a lot in my rituals and magic, so that's why I have a lot of herbs and things like that. Right? Yeah, I just threw the middle path in there, you know, make people feel all fluffy and nice. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the middle path anyway. But I'm just saying. All right. So check all that out because I need input. I don't know exactly what everybody wants or likes. I just need input on some of those things because everybody's different. Everybody likes something different or wants something different. So just check that out. All right, hit me with at least 2 more questions, then we're going to wrap this up. My V, what's going on, girl? Two more questions, y'all. Aw. Well, I'm happy you're off of work, so you can relax. Also, next week, not only will we be discussing vampiric servitors, astral entities, we're also going to utilize vampiric sex magic will also be discussed next week. And yes, I work with the jinn. I have a strong Arab spirit. Let me just give you quick insight on that. Years ago, when I did readings and rituals, it came up that I have a strong Arab spirit. He's a black Arab, a Moor, who was a Sufi and a black magician. And he is the individual that gives me the gift of my psychic powers and abilities. For example, I can read people's minds sometimes if I focus and concentrate and I call that spirit forth. I can actually hear people's thoughts from miles away. I can hear them thinking, saying, or seeing, and I can see into their life from their childhood to the present day. That's one of the gifts he gives me, or the ability he gives me, okay? Another one of the gifts he gives me is the ability to healing energy, tapping into the green light energy. He gives me that ability and gift. All right. So those are just some of the things that the air spirit I've worked with helps me with and shares with me. So some of the mornings I'll do Al-Fatiha. Except when I do Al-Fatiha, I'm not praying or acknowledging Allah. I am Allah. I am the ruler of the worlds, okay? And only I judge myself. And I walk the Sirata Mustaqim, the middle path, or the straight and narrow path, as some would say, okay? It's not really the middle path in the sense of being gray and fluffy, not describing. Middle path as in harmonizing, integrating my shadow body with my body of light, bringing it together to become that master, all right? So I work a lot with my air spirit, strong part of me. After I do the Al-Fatiha some mornings, I'll then go and do a dhikr. I have a Sufi book of life. I meditate on it, open a page, and whatever dhikr comes up out of those 99 attributes of Allah, I do one of those dhikrs as the one in control and the master of what that attribute represents. For example, the destroyer in Arabic, right? The destroyer, you do the dhikr like Ya, okay? And then you say the words. You can actually use dhikrs to destroy somebody. If you know really how to work this magic, you can actually do that dhikr over and over and over on how to destroy somebody. And you could use your dhikr beads, which I still have a green one, black one, and a tiger's eye one. And I do that, and whatever attribute I pull out, I embody that for the day. And that's the way I work with the air spirit, to feed that spirit. Okay? Feed that spirit. So, for example, the destroyer in Arabic is Muramir. That's one way. Out of one dialect is Muramir. So I'll say Ya Muramir, Ya Muramir, Ya Muramir over and over 99 times using dhikr beads, and I become that destroyer. So if I'm trying to destroy an obstacle or blockage in my life, I will chant that. That's one way I work with the Arab spirit. All right. I work with the jinn. I got two major jinns I work with. There's one called Hakim. Okay. He's a dark jinn. And I have a female one who's Aisha. She a little freaky something. Very freaky little something. But anyways, that's the two jinn I work with. The two major jinn that come to me. That's the ones that reveal themselves to me. That's what I work with. And they're very fiery spirits, y'all. Very fiery. All right? So, yeah. Tap into that energy quite often. Any other questions? Look, I'll give you an example. Okay, spirit spouses or sex partners. Yes. All right. I'm going to discuss that next week because some of us have spirits that are connected with us that are your sexual spirit. I ain't gonna say guide. They work with you in a sexually spiritual way. Spirits, everything in existence is trying to survive. Everything in existence is trying to feed or absorb or drain energy. Some of your spirits love and desire sexual energy, sexual fluid, sexual vibration, sexual frequency. That's how some of them work with you. And some of them become your protector. They end up even loving you and caring for you on the spiritual side. So we'll go into that next week because them bad boys is something else when you work with them. Something real else. All right? So yeah, them. And the Lord Kush Goddess, there's a way I can send you a ritual to get this guy off you and the energy off you very easily, but you got to email me. I got this ritual sitting right there on the computer. I can send it to you. Case closed. It'll be done. All right? All right, if you keep saying 911, two things came to me just now. If you keep saying 911, pay attention to your life. There's some warning, or you should be cautious about certain things that may happen or take place in your life. You will feel the warning coming on. Secondly, if you see 911 a lot, it could be a spirit that's also connected you who perished from 911 during the bombings of 911. There wasn't really no plane accidents. It was a damn bomb set off in that building. Whatever they like or don't like about it, people know that already. One of those spirits could actually have made contact and be connected with you. So that's one of the ways they communicate with you. So it could be that those two things or something else that you really have to meditate on. But what I heard my spirit say is it's two of those things. Pay attention to your life. It's trying to warn you, be cautious because there's some danger around your life. Or two, a spirit that perished in the 9/11 bombings has made contact with you and is trying to get you to connect or communicate. So try to meditate and pay attention to that. But you have to discover this for yourself, meditate on it, because it could be something completely different. I'm just sharing with you what I heard. Yeah, okay, about that. When you have dreams of being pregnant, and let's say you're not sexually active all the time, and you have dreams of being pregnant, usually that could mean a couple things. Well, actually, a few things, but quite a few things. But it could mean that you're giving birth to a spiritual entity, and some spirit, and you got busy in the spiritual plane, and you're giving birth to some spiritual entity. Two, it could mean you're birthing a new self, a new you into this physical existence that you're living, and the past has died, and you're birthing a new reality for yourself. Okay? So it can be many more things, but it could be those two are commonly sometimes what it refers to. Right. I Choose to Be Happy says that the website, serpentcrystals.com, is an easy site to navigate. Definitely check it out, peeps. Um, yes, the mantra you can definitely use. I'll type a simple one that you could use. Om Cream Kali is one of the easiest ones that you can use. That destroys any enemies or things of that nature that are trying to hurt anybody, yourself, your family, or anything like that. You can utilize that mantra over and over and over. Om Cream Kali. Yep, that's true. Lord Kush Goddess, 9/11. That spirit 9/11, yeah, it could be a depressed spirit. Yes, you got to remember too that some of these spirits that come to you, some of them that love you and say all these things, they're sexual spirits too. Some people will call them succubi, which is a single one. Incubi, the male version of that, who love to seduce men or women and drain your sexual energy. And some of them can fall in love with you and become your protector. You can flip the script on some of these spirits that sexually devour you. You can actually flip the script, be their commander and master, and they'll be your servant. So you have to really take control of the situation if they're constantly coming to you in a sexual manner. Yes, it could be your spirit. Right, straight panther. Skinwalking, some just use a loose term, shape shifting, connecting to that. But skinwalking is more using an animal archetype or animal entity. You create your shadow body into that kind, Werewolves are commonly used. Vampires are commonly used. Bats, panthers, things like that nature are used in skinwalking quite often because a lot of it, especially, is related to the shamanic Native American mystery. That's commonly they use animal archetypes or animal totems when they work that. That's exactly how they can attach to you. Spirits, especially when spirits go to a traumatic event like a bombing, accidents, things of that nature, some of them get stuck in this realm and they tend to attach themselves to people for a time being until they can grow and mature and break that attachment they have to the earth. So that a lot of times can happen, especially uh, people who died in a traumatic fashion. They tend to get stuck in this realm for a while. And 9/11 was one of those accidents. Well, ain't no accident. That goddamn thing was a plan. Anyways, all right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'll see y'all next week. If I throw a bonus class in there, I'll advise y'all early. But next week's class will be Vampire Servitors, Vampire Sex Magic, Vampire Sex Spirits. I bet you next week's room will be full with a bunch of people. Yeah. Anyways, so I ain't smart. Frosted Flakes made me smart. No, let me stop. Anyways, y'all. So me and my pimp, my vampire pimp, say goodbye. See y'all next Sunday at 7 o'clock. All right. I want to see y'all with your own vampiric pimps next week. Anyways, peace.